Hi everyone! My name's Colleen and I'm an educator at the St. Louis Art Museum. Welcome to Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking about light and dark. We'll start by reading a story together, then we'll be looking at some art from the museum's collection, and we'll end by making our own art together. Feel free to pause the video at any time if you'd like to get a closer look, if you'd like to talk about something with the people that you're with, or if you need to gather some art supplies. Are you ready? Let's get started. Today, we're going to be reading a story called What Color is Night? If you've joined me for Wee Wednesday before, you may know that when I read a new book, I like to take a look at the cover to see if I can find out some things about the story before I read. Let's take a look at this cover together. What do you notice? I see a few different clues on this cover. I see a home here and some trees. And I notice that one of the windows is orange, which is making me wonder if there's a light on inside. And I notice that the sky is this really dark blue color. And I can see all these tiny little white dots, which is making me think those might be stars. What do you think the story might be about based on what we can see? Let's find out. What Color is Night by Grant Snyder. What color is night? Is it only black? And white? What do you think? What color is night to you? When I think about nighttime, I think about all the different kinds of blues that I see in the sky when the moon is shining really full and bright. Look closer. What do you see? The night is blue with black shapes and lines. Let's see if we can find a line on this page and trace it with our finger up in the air. Ready? What kind of line did your finger make as you were tracing it? Let's see if we can find a different one. What kind of line did you make this time? Was it different? Let's keep going. And a big yellow moon beginning to rise. The park aglow with gold fireflies. If you'd like, you can see if you can count some of the fireflies that you see on this page. The silver streak of a train rolling by. Fat brown moths dancing in yellow streetlights. Let's see if we can make our own moth dance. To make your moth, you're gonna hold your hands out, cross them, latch your thumbs together, and then make your moth dance. How's your moth dancing today? I think mine's pretty excited. The city lit up with neon red lights. Yellow headlights on a dark country road. Where do you see light in your neighborhood at nighttime? I see light in the street lights, or coming from my neighbor's window, or sometimes, if I'm lucky, from a full moon overhead. A nighttime visit, a green-eyed glow. blue pond, the white moon twice. Why do you think we see the moon twice here on this page? A thousand silver stars spilled across the sky. One last orange window. Houses of black. The gray face of a clock. A midnight snack. What's your favorite midnight snack? And there in the sky of indigo, all the night's colors in one moon bow. A clear window, a silver moonbeam. Pink and purple clouds. A night of good dreams. And colors unseen. The end. I invite you to think about your favorite part of the story and talk about that with the people that you're with. We're going to travel to the museum now to look at some works of art. Let's imagine how we might get there. Are you going to take a moonlit ride on a sailboat? Or are you going to take a dune buggy across some hot sand in the summer heat? Or are you going to take a ride with some fireflies in the night sky? So you decide. Once you've decided, if you'd like, you can close your eyes and imagine yourself going. Whew, wow, that was a really beautiful journey, but I'm really glad that we made it. In order to get ready to look at our works of art, we're going to be doing an experience I'm calling our Mindfulness Minute. Mindfulness is taking the time to slow down and really pay attention to what you're doing. Today, since we're talking about light and dark, we're going to be focusing on the light and dark in the space where we are. To start, we're going to be taking a counted breath together. So get in a comfortable position, and we're going to take a big deep breath in on a count of 1 and a deep breath out with a count of 1. Are you ready? Breathe in, 1, out, 1. Good job. Let's try that, but this time with a counted breath of 2. Are you ready? We're going to breathe in for 1, 2, and out for 1, 2. Let's try that together. Breathe in for 1, 2, and out 1, 2. Great job. Let's focus on the light that we can see in the space that we're in. Can you see a light source from where you are? Maybe there's daylight coming in from a window, or maybe there's a lamp nearby, or a lamp overhead. See if you can find that light source. Take a look at it. How does it make you feel? Now, let's find the dark in the space that we're in. Is there a shadow that's coming from somewhere? Or maybe there's a hidden spot under a chair or a table? What do you notice about that dark space? What colors do you see? Let's end by taking a counted breath of 3. Are you ready? We're going to breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Out. 1, 2, 3. Great job. I feel much more ready to look at some really amazing works of art. We're going to look at some works of art from the museum's collection together. If you'd like, you can scroll down on the page to get a closer look at the images we'll be viewing. Feel free to pause the video at any time to do this. Take a close look at this work of art. What do you see? If you'd like, pose like the figure in this work of art. How does it make you feel? Let's zoom in to get a closer look. What do you notice about this figure's facial expression? What do you notice about this figure's body language? How do you think this figure might be feeling based on what we can see? This work of art was made by a Japanese artist. It's called Standing Amitabha Buddha. In the Buddhist tradition, a Buddha is a person who has reached full enlightenment. This particular Buddha is the Buddha of boundless light. Where do you see light in the materials used on this work of art? This sculpture was created from wood and is covered with layers of lacquer, which protects the wood, and gold. You can see the shiny gold reflected on the figure's face and clothing. Let's see how another artist created art inspired by light and dark. Look closely at this work of art. What do you notice? Let's look at this work of art from a different perspective. What new details can you see now that we have a different view? This work of art is called Night Blossom Chandelier. It's by an artist named Tord Bunche. A chandelier is a decorative hanging light with branches for several light bulbs or candles. Tord Bunche was inspired by nature and decorations from long ago when creating this work of art in 2003. What about this chandelier reminds you of nighttime? Let's zoom in to get a closer look. What do you notice about the materials the artist used? This chandelier is made from many glass crystals and LED lights to create this glistening effect. What are some of your favorite things about nighttime? If you'd like, you can talk about a special memory with the people that you're with. Now that we looked at some art together, let's travel back home so we can make our own art. So hop in your sailboat on that moonlit ride, or get in your dune buggy across the hot sand, or fly with the fireflies, and let's head home. For our art making project today, we are going to be making our own shadow puppet theaters. So to make our shadow puppet theaters, we're going to need a few different materials. We're going to need a box of some kind, and it can be any kind of box. It can be big, it can be small. This is a cereal box. It could be a cardboard box, whatever you have around will work. We're also going to need some light colored tissue paper. And if you don't have tissue paper, you can also use wax paper or coffee filters or like a really light colored fabric if you have like an old t-shirt lying around or an old rag or something like that. Just something so that you can kind of see through it a little bit. Then we're also going to need either some tape or glue, a scissors, some paper, and I have a few different kinds of paper today. I have some dark colored paper, and then I have some boxes that I found in my recycling bin that I thought I could use to cut out my puppets. And you want to make sure those are kind of a darker color too, but it doesn't matter if it's paper or cardboard or anything. And then we're also going to need some things to attach our puppets to. So I have some toothpicks here. I also have a pencil. You could use a kitchen utensil or anything else, sticks from your backyard or from the sidewalk will work too. So to get started, we're going to need to prepare our box so that it will be able to be turned into a theater. So we're going to need to do some cutting of our box, and you're definitely going to need a grown-up to help you with this part. So the first step is we're going to create our window to make kind of the window of our theater. So to do that, we're going to need to kind of use our scissors and make a hole. I might do it in the corner here. So sometimes it can be a little tricky to cut cardboard or boxes, so you definitely want to have a grown-up help to do this part, to prepare your box for you. But I'll show you how to do it. So I'm just going to cut along the sides of my box here. I'm just gonna make sure I have a little outline. Now I'm just cutting my box, my window into a rectangle, but you could cut it into a different shape if you wanted. It could be a square or circle or a smaller opening. It's your theater. Okay, so now I have the opening part to my box. And now I need to cut out the back part too, so that I can kind of stand behind my theater when I have my shadow puppets. So I'm just gonna go and cut along the back. And I'm just gonna cut out the whole back part of the box. And remember, the best materials to use for this project are the ones that you already have. And I love doing shadow puppet theaters because you can make them out of so many different things, different shapes, different sizes. And the great thing about shadow puppet theaters is you don't even have to make the puppets because you can use your hands. But if you want to make some puppets, we're going to do that today too. Really got to work hard to cut this cardboard. It's a lot of work. Okay, last part. Okay, so now I cut out my back, and I'm going to need to kind of piece this part back together so that it can stand up. So I'm going to use some tape, but if you have glue, oops, if you have glue, you can use glue too. Okay, so now I have kind of the base of my theater, and now I'm going to need to put my tissue paper here so that when I shine light through it, you'll be able to see the shadows. So I have tissue paper, but like I said, you can use wax paper or coffee filters if you're making a smaller theater. And you just want to make sure that you have a big enough piece that you can put it on your theater, or you can kind of piece multiple ones together. So like if you're using coffee filters, you could kind of glue a bunch of them together to make your one piece. So I'm going to make sure that it's big enough, and I'm going to cut a piece here. Actually, I don't need to cut it, I'm going to rip it. So if you don't have scissors, you can just use your hands. I think I just need to cut this part. Put it inside, and I'm going to use some glue to glue it down. So I'm going to put some glue on the inside of our little border here. And if you'd like, you can color your theater with markers or crayons, or decorate it with other kinds of paper that you have. Or you can just leave it as it is. I'm just going to press it so that it sticks on the insides here. And now I have my theater, so I can put my puppets underneath. So now on to our puppets. So I'm going to set this aside. And now I have my different kinds of paper to make my puppets. So you can think about what kind of puppets you'd like to make. You can make creatures or people or things that are outside. I want to put a cap back on my glue stick. Very important to put caps back on glue sticks so they won't dry out. So I think I was inspired by nature and nighttime, and kind of in the art that we saw in the story that we read. So I think I might make some nature related nighttime things. I might make a moon. And you can draw these first before you cut them, or you can just use your scissors and kind of do your drawing with your scissors. So here's my moon. And the thing about shadow puppets is you don't really need to draw on them or add details, because what you'll see when you use your puppet theater is just the silhouette of it, or the outline of the shape. So you can color them and decorate them if you'd like, but you don't have to, because they won't show up in the shadow puppet theater. So there's my moon. I think I might want a tree of some kind, so maybe I'll do that with my blue paper. And sometimes it's kind of just fun to use your scissors and see what happens. And if you need help using the scissors, you can ask your grown-up. So you could always draw something and they could cut it out for you if you need help with scissors. And you can use any kind of paper for this, because you're not really going to see the paper that you use, so it doesn't matter what kind of paper it is. Okay, so there's my tree and my moon. What else do I want? Let's use some more of my cardboard here. Maybe I'll make a home. I'm just going to make a really simple building with a pointy roof. And I might even want to put a window in that. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, there's my window. Alright, so I have a few puppets here, so now I think I'm ready to add my toothpicks. And remember, you can use pencil or stick or anything really, just so that you can easily hold them up when you're doing your shadow puppet show. So there's my home here. And now I'll do my moon. And this piece of tape is a little too long for me. Okay, so now I have my puppets, and I think I might be ready to test them out with my puppet theater. So in order to use your shadow puppet theater, you're going to need to put a light source behind your theater. So I have a flashlight here that I put behind so I can show you, but you can also use a lamp, or you can even take your shadow puppet theater outside when it's really sunny, and that can help you create shadows. So I wanted to show you what our puppets will look like while you're using your theater. So here's my tree. Maybe it's blowing in the wind, and I've got my home. Maybe it's really a windy, stormy night. And then here's my moon puppet that we made. And remember, you can also use a great tool. You can use your hands to make puppets as well. So that is going to be our shadow puppet theaters. Thank you for joining me today here at We Wednesday. We hope you had fun. I wanted to show you another example of a shadow puppet theater that I made. So this is the one that we made together out of my cereal box, and I have my shadow puppets that I made out of paper and cardboard and other things. I also made a different theater out of another repurposed material. So this is an oatmeal container, and I just put a coffee filter on top with a rubber band, and I actually put one of my puppets inside so you could see with my flashlight. You can see my moon puppet that's right inside. So you can make your shadow puppet theaters out of lots of different things, and even out of things that are different shapes. So there's lots of different ways to do it. We would love to see your shadow puppet theaters. Please share them with us on social media. You can use the hashtags STL Art Museum and We Wednesday. We hope to see you back here next week. Keep on creating. Bye.